Good morning, councillors, staff and guests, and welcome to our Ordinary Council meeting for April 2026. I'd like to start by paying our respects to the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, the Camberwell people, and their elders past, present and emerging, and thank them for their continuing care for this country. Today we have the Reverend David Tidy joining us for the prayer.
Thank you. In a couple of days we have Anzac Day. Anzac Day is where we remember soldiers that have given their lives for us, countries that have been in conflict. Today we remember themes of sacrifice, of mateship, of standing up for injustice. A couple of weeks ago we had Easter, and on the Christian calendar again the themes of sacrifice, of giving up for others. In our community we're seeing a lowering of volunteerism, a lowering of our support of our community groups. And a part of who we are as people is to chase after what suits me, what benefits me. I can't imagine many of the soldiers going away to war thinking this is going to be good fun. They tried to create fun, but it was about pain and sacrifice. And many of them are still living with that pain from the sacrifice they made for us. As we chase after what we want, what makes us feel happy, what makes us feel comfortable and good, often we're actually putting behind others' good. We're actually standing up for ourselves and putting down others in order to get our way. The themes of sacrifice would say that we need to look at who we are, where we're going as a community, and adjusting to be able to say, how do I care for my community? How can I stand up for the injustice in our community? How can I make a sacrifice for the good of all of who we are? Our roles, and I include mine in this, is not about what I gain, but it's how we can create a better community to live in. How we can make rules, how we can make judgments to say what is the best for us as a people. And sometimes that means that I may not be as comfortable or as happy as I would like to be. But sometimes the decisions we make are based on how can I help you more than how can I help me, and that's tough. And we need to chase after something beyond ourselves to be able to say, how can I make decisions based on not me, but us, because they're hard. May I pray. Father, thank you that you've shown us what it is to make sacrifice. You've shown us what it is to support each other, to stand up against injustice, to stand up for what is right. I ask that you be with us today. Give us wisdom, give us understanding, give us knowledge. Help us to make decisions which make our region to be greater and greater and greater. Help us to be able to see who we are as a people and as a community, and how we improve our lives now, tomorrow, and into the future. Help us to be able to understand how to help our young people to take on themes of greatness, to take on themes of support and sacrifice, to take on themes of community, to change and build, to transform who we are as a people, to be encouraging and strengthening each other. Give us wisdom today as we sit before you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend. Moving on to attendance and apologies. The Deputy Mayor is an apology with the rest of the councillors in attendance. Reading and confirmation of minutes. We have a recommendation that the minutes of the Ordinary Council meeting held on Wednesday, 25 March 2026 be adopted. Do I have a mover for that one? Councillor McDonald, thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Pigeon, thank you. All in favour? Unanimous, thank you. We have a recommendation that Council receive the report. Do I have a mover for that one? Councillor Dean, thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Haslett. Any questions on that one, councillors? No? All in favour? It's unanimous, thank you. Moving on to declarations of conflicts of interest. Do we have any conflicts to declare today? No conflicts to declare. We have no mayoral minute and no notices of motion. So moving on to reading and consideration of correspondence. We have a recommendation that the report of the Chief Executive Officer in relation to correspondence be received. I'm going to move that one today. Do I have a seconder? Councillor McDonald. Thank you. I've moved this because I want to specifically speak to the letter from the Minister for Water of the 27th of March 2026. I'll speak about it more generally, but I have had a number of questions, which is why I wanted to speak to this today once the agenda went up, from people in the community not quite understanding the reference to the funding for a period of 10 years and what that actually meant. So I wanted to explain that in rather simple terms and say that the proposal when Toowoomba to Warwick was initially mooted by the previous state government was that to assist Southern Downs Regional Council and ratepayers in terms of the financial burden of that pipeline, there was going to be a period of 10 years where the operation and maintenance cost would not be paid by council. The letter is simply pushing that time period out so that when stage 2 is delivered, the 10 years would then run from stage 2, not run from now. So that is the reference to the 10 years, and it's not particularly clear in the letter. But I did want to speak more broadly in relation to what was the press release of the same day of 27 March and the letter advising that the Toowoomba to Warwick pipeline is now going to be staged in 2 stages. I'd like to start by thanking the Premier for the commitment he made in March this year to provide water security for Stanthorpe. And reiterate that Council is ready to work in partnership with the Queensland Government to deliver water security for our region. Water security is the #1 priority for our Council, and we have been advocating for this to both state and federal governments since the 2024 election. We have made budget submissions for 2026-27 to both state and federal governments, focusing on drought-proofing the Southern Downs based on recommendations in the Queensland State Government's Regional Water Assessment. In relation to the announcement regarding the Toowoomba to Warwick pipeline, the Queensland Government has advised that the project is now to be delivered in 2 stages, stage 1 being Toowoomba to Greenmount, which is funded, and stage 2 being Greenmount to Warwick, which will be progressed when it is required. While this is a disappointing outcome for Council and the Southern Downs community, we remain committed to working closely with the Queensland Government to determine the appropriate triggers that will inform a future government decision to construct stage 2. That said, given our current dry conditions and our autumn forecasts, Council strongly believes that some parts of the Toowoomba to Warwick project are essential to be delivered in stage 1, and we will be pushing strongly for this. The $80 million funding commitment to connect the Allara bore to the Warwick water treatment plant is a vital part of our drought planning and provides an additional year's supply to the Warwick water network. The $40 million for the Warwick reservoir is critical infrastructure to both operational and water security planning for Warwick. This is the time for all 3 levels of government to work collaboratively and show the community that we put them first, and Council stands ready and willing to do that. Does anyone else have any comments or questions on correspondence? Councillor McDonald.
Yes, Mayor. I too would like to speak to that particular letter. I would like to register my disappointment as a councillor and a person that is in representation of our community. In fact, I saw red when I saw it. I think the Minister needs to strap on a pair of her boots and take a look at our region. Pretty soon you won't need a trigger for drought because it's already on our doorstep, and I think most of us can see it. We are probably within 1 to 2 months away from a drought or a drought being declared. I do commend the staff on going back once again and attempting to actually progress this. I unfortunately this weekend it wasn't a privilege, but certainly I was able to travel out into various areas of our region. I saw an area known as Springdale down around Stanthorpe. It is in absolute disarray. It was the same as my property was in 2019, kissing the dirt. I do not think that securing another part of Toowoomba City Council's region has anything to do with assisting the Southern Downs Regional Council. Obviously, there have been a couple of areas which have been looked at, which the Mayor alluded to, which were bores, etc. However, I think when we take a look at the last drought, have a look at which townships actually ran dry, well, guess what? It's down here. And this part or this portion of the pipeline does nothing to address those problems down in Stanthorpe directly. So I commend our staff for continuing to try and push ahead and request that this is looked at very seriously, because we are without doubt on the doorstep of a drought if we do not see rain very soon. So please, Minister, feel free, come over to our region, take a look at how we are sitting, have a look at how our rural producers are doing at the moment, because we are doing it very, very tough. Thank you, Mayor.
Councillor McDonald. Councillor Haslett.
Thank you, Mayor. A question really, which you may be able to give a bit more light, given your meetings with the Minister. Both you and Councillor McDonald have spoken about appropriate triggers, and the letter speaks of these triggers, and Councillor McDonald's just outlaid the situation that we're already in. So my question is, what triggers are we waiting for? We're already on permanent water restrictions. We're already worried about water. I already am collecting my shower water and my washing water and putting it on my garden. What trigger do we need?
Yes.
Through you, Mayor, if I may. Thank you for the question, Councillor. It's the triggers that are outlined in Council's endorsed drought management plan, and we have more information in further detail coming back to Council's assess in May.
Thank you.
Councillor Ritters. Oh, Councillor Pigeon and then Councillor Ritters.
Thank you, Mayor Melissa. I just want to outline three points that I believe need to be recognised and highlighted within the correspondence, and that the Sale Yards roof remains a critical priority for our region, particularly as it is essential for the livestock and all users of the facility, and its importance cannot be overstated. I also want to continue to thank you for your ongoing advocacy and the staff for the water security, as we all recognise that this is fundamental in productivity and sustainability of our region. And in relation to the work on Cunningham's Gap, I just want to reiterate the importance of this corridor and the timeframes of delivery, that we continue to carefully work with State in this moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pigeon. Councillor Ritters.
Thanks, Mayor. I would like to also, echo the things that you said and what Councillor McDonald said in regards to the Toowoomba to Warwick pipeline. I find it very disappointing that the government have decided to stage this project. I'd just like to remind councillors and the community that the original Toowoomba to Warwick pipeline commitment from the previous government was committed for Southern Downs to ensure that we had water supply during a drought. Had nothing to do with connecting Greenmount and other Toowoomba Council outlying areas that were not connected to a town water supply. It was Southern Downs, namely Warwick, who during the last drought, we were literally months, if not weeks, away from losing a water supply to Warwick, for which there was no plan to be able to provide water to Warwick residents if Leslie Dam ran dry. That's why the Toowoomba to Warwick pipeline is critically important for our region. We may find ourselves in a situation in the near future where, again, we have to start trucking water to Stanthorpe. Warwick's town water supplies are running dry, and we're in the same situation we were in 7-8 years ago. So I would seriously ask that the state government reconsider what it is that they're proposing to do here, or have decided to do. make right now is the time for the state government to be investing in that pipeline to Warwick. And I'd like to say that members of the community are still talking to me about Swamp Dam. And as our council's official position is, and my position is exactly the same, has not changed. We support the state government progressing the business case for Swamp Dam, as we also ask them to progress the business case for the Warwick to Stanthorpe pipeline. So the previous commitment from the previous government, along with the regional water assessment, are two vital, key important things for our region's water security. They are all pinned on the state government delivering, and I'm disappointed that they're not.
Thank you, Councillor Richters. Councillor Dean.
Thank you. I'd first like to acknowledge Minister Lay and thank her for her continued support and engagement with our region. We genuinely appreciate the time and consideration given to this issue that most of our communities. However, water security is not a short-term conversation for our region, it's a long-term necessity. And I am disappointed, like many of our councillors, that this project has been delayed as drought is just around the corner. And like many of our councillors have suggested, would encourage our ministers to come down and see it firsthand. We must ensure that today's decision does not limit tomorrow's resilience. Water security underpins everything: our agriculture, our economy, our livability, and our ability to attract future growth. Without it, we risk placing our communities in a vulnerable position once again. Minister, we value support and we welcome continued collaboration. We stand ready to work with the state to identify practical, forward-thinking solutions that balance affordability with long-term security. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dean. Councillor Bartley.
Thanks, Mayor. I noticed in the correspondence it indicates there were discussions with our Treasurer, Mr. Janetsky, regarding some of the concerns raised by our officers. And I think those officers' concerns, correct me if I'm wrong, is how will we pay for the pipeline eventually, because it's not going to be all borne by state government. The ratepayers will pay for that. And it's been indicated in all the discussions that they will pay for the pipeline. They've never been able to tell us a final cost to the ratepayer. That's a major concern to us. And I think we need to establish that, because Toowoomba, they copped, when they built their water pipeline, a phenomenal increase in their water rates. If you have a look at Toowoomba's water rates now, they are large. I don't know whether our ratepayers are capable of bearing that cost. So I think there needs to be ongoing discussions with the Minister of Finance for state government in how that will be paid for eventually. Because I think it's beyond the scope of the ratepayers.
Thank you, Councillor Bartley. Do you want that question passed to staff about whether it had been, the payment structure had been finalised for the pipeline?
Well, I know it was asked in the last council what the end cost would be to the ratepayer, and no one could provide it.
Is that a question? Yes, is that a question or a statement?
It's a statement.
Statement, okay. Thank you, Councillor Bartley. Councillor Walling?
I appreciate everyone's concerns. I was heavily involved in the drought. Sorry, my pen just exploded. Well, yeah, I appreciate all your concerns. I understand this. We're lucky at the moment that our growers in the Granite Belt have gotten nearly through their season. I think we should be looking at all options, like Councillor Richards said. It's important to look at all options while this and not lose sight, because this letter has been produced. I think we should still be going forward and looking at as many options available, because as we know, as bad as the last drought was, we're unprepared, and I'd hate to be unprepared again going in if this is going to be a large drought. So, yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Watley. In reply, I just want to touch on a few items from that conversation, which I think the conversation generally, I think, shows a lot of unity around this room, that we do all agree that there was a unanimous endorsement of all options that the state government was looking at, and this council is ready to work with the state government on whatever infrastructure option will deliver water security should we find ourselves in drought. Councillor Richters, as to Warwick's water supply in the last drought, when the drought broke, we did still have 1 year of supply in Leslie Dam, so we weren't weeks away. It was, though, of concern because if it hadn't have broken, there wasn't a backup option. So I just wanted not to alarm people that we were quite that low. On the Toowoomba water rates, I think one of the issues for Toowoomba last year in their budget was factoring in the very high cost of those dam safety upgrades for Crestbrook Dam. I think it's something that we all, as regional councils, any council that has a dam is facing these problems, and we are all looking for assistance from the state government to ensure that our ratepayers do not have to pay the burden of some of those dam safety upgrades, and we will certainly be doing that ourselves as we continue to review our dams. And yes, Councillor Wantling, I agree with you that we need to make sure that we take the opportunity in working with both governments and within council to make sure that we are well prepared as we head into a dry patch. So I think that's something that the staff are already working on. As the CEO said, there'll be something coming back to us soon on some of that work. But I think it will be something that all of us around this table need to stay focused on and need to work collaboratively together on for our community and put them first in what we do as regards water security. Okay, all in favour of receiving that correspondence? Unanimous, thank you. Moving on to the portfolio reports, I have my monthly portfolio report and a recommendation that Council's Prosperous Communities portfolio report be received. I'll move that. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Pigeon, thank you. I will take that report as read, but just to touch on the discussion that we've just been having, at the end of March, you'll see in the report that I did meet with the Office of Minister Lay and the Office of Minister Watt, the federal and state water ministers, when I was in Brisbane, and we will be continually liaising with those officers as we progress through our drought planning. Are there any questions or comments on that? Councillor Richters.
Mayor, is there anything you can tell us about the meeting with Sunwater on the 26th of March?
Yes, so we were, while we were in Brisbane, the CEO and I met with Sunwater to discuss the water situation here, what they were seeing in terms of Leslie Dam and inflows, what they were projecting going forward, and to talk to them about collaborating as we head into the drought. So it isn't just the state and federal governments. We have Sunwater, who are the manager of Leslie Dam, and we need to work really closely with them in our drought planning. So just opening up those lines of communication. Any other questions? No, all in favour? That's unanimous, thank you. And we have a portfolio report from Councillor Haslett and a recommendation that Council's Inspired Communities portfolio report be received. I take it you'll move that, Councillor Haslett, and a seconder, Councillor Dean, thank you.
Take the report as read. I think it's fairly self-explanatory in there. And just might mention that the next citizenship ceremony that we will be having is on the 18th of June, and it's here in Stanthorpe for anybody who can make it. They're wonderful events.
Thank you, Councillor Haslett. Any questions or comments? No. All in favour? Oh, sorry.
No, never mind, disregard.
Okay. All in favour? Unanimous, thank you. Moving on to the Executive Services Report, we have a recommendation that Council note the Chief Executive Officer's status report. Do I have a mover for that one? Councillor Haslett and a seconder, Councillor Bartley. Do we have any comments or questions on that one, Councillor Bartley?
Comment regarding my question that was mentioned there. Is it only council who has the authority to open roads that have been previously closed? I think there's two words missing off that question, by council, because originally that road was closed by council, and I believe we have the capacity to reopen it if there's a necessity to do it. It doesn't
belong to state government. It's not a main road or anything, it's under our control as a council.
Are you talking about Murphy's Crossing Road?
Correct.
Councillor Bartley. The previous resolution on Murphy's Crossing Road by the previous council was to offer no objection to the closure, not to close, but to offer no objection to the state. So the closure, I think, was done by the state, but we'll just ask if we could ask the CEO or General Manager.
I think it was done by the state through you, Mayor.
We can take it.
So in that paragraph, 4 of the response clearly articulates temporary road closures, I think where it says state government can close them with the intent to sell off. I think it's paragraph 3, legal and permanent road closures. It talks about we are engaged as one of the stakeholders to give an opinion. And normally that opinion is if it's of no significant value to us, to any of our assets as council. But I certainly take on board the intent of the original notice of motion that was to be put before council, but anyhow, it'll have to be sorted out some way because it would appear the residents would like that road open around the area.
Yeah, I understand that that we are being there is the question from the state on our view on that, and that will be coming in a report to council. Is that correct, CEO? Yeah.
Okay.
So
Happy with
yes.
that.
Yeah. Any other comments or questions? All in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you. Moving on to the Local Resilience Action Plan, we have a recommendation that Council endorse the amended Southern Downs Local Resilience Action Plan, which includes the projects that are listed in that recommendation. Do I have a mover for that one? Councillor Pitchin, would you move as deputy? Thank you.
Yes.
And a seconder? Councillor Haslett, thank you. Does anyone want to speak to that motion?
I would just like to acknowledge the work that staff have put into this. It's a very important strategic tool that clearly identifies and prioritises projects based on our local needs and community outcomes. And for those reasons, it remains a vital component in planning for our funding strategy. So thank you to all involved. Thank you, Councillor Pitchin. Councillor Richters.
I'd just like to also say I think it's a fantastic list. I also would like to specifically mention the Warwick Hospital helipad as a urgent issue that is deeply important to our community, and whilst it is totally outside of the realm of council, I think we need to maintain a consistent and loud voice that echoes our community that says that the state government need to do something about it.
Thank you, Councillor Richters. Any other councillors? I would like to say that as with Councillor Pitchin, it is a really good list, and I think in particular there are a number of really essential projects on this list, such as the Stanthorpe Depot relocation, which is part of our upgraded water treatment plant, which in floods is very essential. Some of the bridge projects that make our highways and bridges more resilient to flood work. And importantly, all of these projects are included in the plan for potential funding, which would mean lowering the burden on ratepayers of some of those essential works. So I'm very happy to see a very focused and tangible list in that updated LRAP. Going to a vote on that, all in favour? That's unanimous, thank you. Moving on to the corporate service reports, we have a recommendation that council receive and note the financial performance report as at 31 March 2026. Do I have a mover for that one? Councillor Haslett, thank you, and a seconder? Councillor Pitchin, thank you. Does anyone want to speak to that report? Councillor Pitchin.
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge that council is recognising the risk and impact associated with the higher fuel prices. It's reassuring to see that there's embedded risk management practices going on, and monitoring is placing in surely appropriate action is being taken here, and it's also pleasing to see that the capital works projects have increased to 77.2% compared to 52.6% at this time last year. So that represents a strong improvement and reflects positively on our project advancement. So I'd just like to thank staff for that. It's very pleasing to see. Thank you.
Councillor Pigeon, Councillor Haslett?
Actually, a question, so in the revenue versus expenses, there's points around TMR work, which is very much in their favour and not ours according to those numbers. But so the question is that simply related to timing of invoices going out and coming in?
Yeah, through Mayor, yes it is. We run those to make a small surplus, so that all balances out.
Thank you. Councillor Bartley?
Question regarding sewage, and happy for it to be taken on notice that we've got a $7.7 million budget we've spent 1.4 so far. That might change after this agenda has gone through council, because I see there's a fairly big one later on the agenda to be considered. But we're a fair way behind, only 18% spent on sewage. So, and we've committed $6 million. We are going to have a very busy 3 months in front of us.
Through the Mayor, thanks for the question, Councillor. Yes, there's good commitments there, but we need to turn those commitments into actuals, so you're exactly right. And there's a couple of items before us today, and there's a lot of work out there in the field at the moment, so yeah. So certainly, it's great to see the commitments, but we want to see them converted from commitments to actuals.
Councillor Richters?
I'd just like to ask, in the revenue, the very first dot point being the $1.4 million in grants and subsidies, could one of the general managers update us on some of the specifics behind that?
I'll need to take that on notice.
So through the chair, and I'll look to Nick on this one as well. It's as stated in the paragraph, it's regarding flood works, which are never budgeted for because we don't know when a natural disaster will hit. But that is information that's now just been flowing through for all of your monthly reports. So it's the same amount of money that we've had from QRA for a number of months now.
And that's in relation to the January flood event?
Specifically.
Yeah, through the Chair, the two events, the previous flood event that we're getting really great completion on, and then we've also had the XTC event that we were very successful in getting funding on as well. So 2 events, and I think the team's done really well putting those claims in and getting them approved by DAFRA.
I'd just like to also point out the reduction in loans. I think when we came to council, we were 11.5, nearly maybe 12 million in debt, and now it's down to 8.8, which is fantastic.
Councillor Watling?
Oh, just yeah, the spent and committed again. Can I have a breakdown of what actually has been spent to what is committed, the difference? Is it possible to get that?
Certainly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Going to a vote on that, councillors, all in favour? That's unanimous, thank you. Item 13.2, we have a recommendation that council receive and note the third quarter update of the 25-26 operational plan. Do I have a mover for that one? Councillor Dean, and a seconder, Councillor Haslett, thank you. Does anyone want to speak to that item? No? Councillor McDonough? Yep.
Just in regards to the talk to the planner duty roster that's now commenced, I think I spoke about this in the CIS. I think this is a fantastic initiative so that people can actually come in and face to face have that discussion. And I really do thank the CEO and the director in regards to the foresight of actually putting such an initiative together for the public. I think it is very much appreciated by many areas of our region, including those that are developers, but also the mums and dads that want to come in there and just have a general discussion and feel comfortable about what they're doing and which direction they should go. So I really commend that. I would also ask for the public, please, can we look at, I think it's page 53, the drought resilience package. It says the bulk of the work has been awarded and are commencing or are underway. The outstanding works are ready to go to market. Can we expand on the bulk of what those works actually were, CEO?
Yes, through the Mayor, I've got my manager of water and wastewater here sitting in the back there. I might just get you to talk to the details of the drought management monies we receive from the government and the work's been done, and they include our water saving devices, our meters, electronic meters, and there's a range of other things, and Graham is here to talk to about it.
You Mayor, as Nick said, one of the big projects that we got money for was to install meters in all of the towns except Stanthorpe, because Stanthorpe already had meters from another government funding, and that project is basically complete. We're just tying it up. We then had another project to refurbish the bores in ALARA. The bores in ALARA used to supply ALARA, but because of the quality of the water, they stopped using it as potable supply, and the bores basically were in disuse and were in bad condition. So they've been completely refurbished, and the idea is that when the Toowoomba Warwick pipeline eventually gets built, that'll be connected to that and pump that water through to Warwick. And that'll give us an extra 350 megalitres a year to the Warwick supply. The other thing that we did was we upgraded our pumps at Leslie Dam. The pumps were really old and were due for replacement, but we also replaced it with bigger pumps that could extract some of the dead water supply. So the old pumps could only reach dead water supply, and then that's as far as we could go. So we could get a bit more out of Leslie Dam once we got to that point. And then they also did a separate project through Sunwater to have a portable system that would be able to extract the dead supply as well for us, which would give us another 2,000 megalitres of water if that was used. Then we also had a project to upgrade a pump on the Goondiwindi Dam line. That pump there was in really poor condition as well. So the pump has been upgraded, but at the moment we're too scared to use it because of the condition of the pipeline. We think if we use the pump, we'll blow the pipeline. So at the moment we feed by gravity, and we can't keep up with the demand in Warwick if we're only using Connolly. But if we pump, then we could just about keep up. So we have got a project in the tenure plan to look at the condition of those pipelines and to eventually replace them. And then we also looked at other sources of water like bores, and we investigated the potential for bores to service Warwick and Stanthorpe. Unfortunately, around Stanthorpe we didn't find anything that was suitable. In Warwick we did find a couple, but they were quite far out and they would be expensive. So as a last resort we could potentially look at taking over those bores and put a pipeline in if we were running out of water. And
I think that's a good summary, Graham. Thank you.
Graham.
Sorry, CEO, just the last part of it, if we could find out, sorry Graham, my apologies, the outstanding works that are ready to go to market.
We'll take that on notice.
On notice?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Councillor Haslett.
Thank you, Chair. Just to note, as I read through this third quarter update, how many items that I had put in my portfolio report were the same as the items that appeared in the third quarter update. And I think that's also just been reiterated by what Graham's just said, that there, to me, seems to be a really good synergy between what we, the elected body, are doing versus what the operational team are doing, that they are aligning really well to achieve the goals and strategic goals and things that are set by us as councillors. My report was written very much in isolation from this, but then when I read the two together, I thought, yep, it's lovely to see that they align so well.
Councillor Ricketts.
May I just wondering if I could get an update, if that's possible, on the pipeline replacement at Leslie Dam?
Through the Mayor. Work is going well. We've replaced some critical elements that were actually the most risk elements, and those works are completed at the moment, so the water's running through those stabilised elements. There's also the next phase of the project is to duplicate the pipeline next to the dam along the service road, and that's just currently in final design before we initiate the construction. All the materials are purchased for that pipeline, and we're just now looking at the final detailed design to start the construction. So I'm sleeping a lot better at night, and so is my water team, because we've really de-risked a lot of that connection, which is the only connection between Leslie and Warwick. So yeah, really proud of that work.
Can I say thank you to the General Manager for that update, because I'm sure members of the community who are going to Leslie Dam are thinking to themselves, what are all these pipes sitting here?
Thank you. Councillor Bartley.
Thanks, Mayor. Question basically to Graham through you, Mayor. We said we went exploring bores around Warwick. What do we call a good bore? Or what defines a good bore?
To the CEO.
Thank you.
Happy to have that taken on notice, but
No, we'll take it on notice, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes, certainly we're all aware of a bore out at Elbow Valley that we've discussed in previous meetings.
There was 20, through you, Mayor, there was 21 megs for sale on Condamine Alluvium the other day. And basically that's 21 days of water for Stanthorpe, if you look at it, and it could have been looked at, but that's what I want to know, what defines a reasonable allocation of draft, because we've got to get an allocation. Before even you find a bore, you've got to be able to get an allocation for it. So, and I would have thought there are reasonable sources of water within reasonable proximity of Warwick, with my limited local knowledge.
Thank you, Councillor Bartley, and yes, you're right in regards to allocations, and it's certainly something that we've raised with the state government as well, is to look at options in the region for drought supplies. So,
and have we asked the question of trading with people that do have good bores, whether we can actually buy some of that allocation and use it?
I think we'll take that one on notice. Okay, anyone else? No? Okay, all in favour? It's unanimous, thank you. We have the minutes of the Audit and Risk Management Committee meeting and a recommendation that Council receive and note the minutes of the Audit and Risk Management Committee meeting held 23 March 2026. Would you like to move that, Councillor Ricketts? Thank you. And a seconder? Councillor Dean, thank you. Do you want to speak to that at all, Councillor Ricketts?
No, I'll just say, yes. It was a great meeting. I enjoyed listening to the new members of the Audit and Risk Committee meeting. I do think of note the delay in the two internal audit risk audits that we have deferred. I think is a sensible decision because of the body of work that is currently being undertaken. That was probably a little bit too ambitious. And I'll have more to say in the confidential agenda item.
Councillor Ricketts, does anyone else want to speak to this item? Okay, all in favour? It's unanimous, thank you. Moving on to item 13.4. The local government boundary realignment. We have a recommendation that Council supports the request to refer the local government boundary realignment to the Local Government Change Commission and supports the request from Goondiwindi Regional Council in regard to Lot 14 on B 34379 and Lot 15 SP 332758 being wholly incorporated into Goondiwindi Regional Council's local government area. Do I have a mover for that one? Councillor Bartley, thank you, and a seconder, Councillor Richters. Did you want to speak to that, Councillor Bartley?
I think it's fairly procedural, Mayor. Probably one benefit for the person going to the Goondiwindi Regional Council area, their rates are a lot cheaper.
Councillor Bartley. Anyone else?
Councillor Bartley just said the thing that I was thinking in my head. But I also just think this is outrageous that this was the issue, the case in the first place. Why would someone's property be split in half and divided between two local government areas? So this change is necessary.
Okay, going to a vote on that, all in favour? It's unanimous, thank you. Item 13.5, we have a recommendation that council apply the exception in section 2361C of the Local Government Regulation 2012 to the disposal of the interest in the land identified in attachment 1 and approve the renewal of the tenure agreements in attachment 1 in accordance with the Local Government Regulation 2012 whilst adhering to the council lease policy, the Land Title Practice Manual and the Land Act 1994, and grant delegated authority to the Chief Executive Officer and Delegated Officer to negotiate and complete any documents and dealings necessary to implement council's decision to renew the tenure arrangements in attachment 1. Do I have a mover for that? Councillor Hassler, thank you, and a second at Councillor Richters. Does anyone want to speak to that item?
Again, it's fairly procedural, but I just want to say it's great to see, thank you to the governance team for all the work that they're doing in getting our leases and tenures up to speed and up to date and all those things. I know it's a very big body of work that they are getting through at the moment, and it's getting there. It's good to see.
Thank you, Councillor Richters.
I'd just like to make some comments about number 4 in the renewal. I think that all of them are fantastic and exactly what we should be doing, but I'd just like to make mention of it and say to Department of Defence that I really hope that they continue to use Warwick as a place of training for Air Force cadets, and that they have a bold ambition to increase that into the future.
Thank you. Councillor Watley, did you?
I'm two minds with this. I would actually like it to probably come back into council review before these have got some of these. I don't know, is there 150? How many have to be renewed on this?
No, this is just for the 5.
5.
Yes.
So given delegated authority of them 5.
Yes, just those 5, yes.
Is it possible for us to view them before they are sent out to be signed? Is there a possibility at all?
We did do the SIS that articulated what the terms would be. Yeah, we can do it again.
Just a final document for it?
Yep.
Okay, thanks. So we can view them before they're signed, the final document?
Yes, as a councillor you can view documents.
Yeah.
Yep. Councillor Hartley?
Thanks, Mayor. I'm absolutely happy that we delegate authority to CEO to do these. No problem with that whatsoever. But along with Councillor Watling, I'd just like to be notified which ones are being done because they don't all come up at once. They used to come before council, so we knew. But sometimes we have had organisations approach us as councillors about their leases, arrangements, or what have you. So if we know they're being done or something, we'll just get a notification, an email to us that they've been done. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see the agreement or anything. I just want to know that they're done. And if anyone ever asks it, it's in the process of being done or whatever. It just might make our life easier as councillors getting questions from different organisations. And it's good to see 10 years. That takes a while, so they won't be back asking questions for 10 years. It's good.
Through the Mayor, yes, we can certainly do that, Councillor.
Councillor McDonald?
Yes, Mayor. I agree with Councillor Bartley. I do believe that we can delegate this quite easily. I believe we had the information of the CIS, and I have no real concerns in regards to seeing those particular 5 leases once again. I think moving forward in future, of course, I think we've been well informed here. There's 5 of them there coming up, and I'm sure in the future that our governance team will bring the next 5 or the next 10 to us as they come along. So I appreciate the work that the staff have done, and I thank you very much.
Councillor McDonald. I'd like to say, as other councillors have, given how many leases there were that were expired or about to expire, this has been it is an ongoing huge job for the staff, and they're doing really well, I think, to get through them in the time they have. These leases are important not just so that the clubs have certainty, but in terms of their applications for many grant opportunities, it's essential that they have a lease, and this gives our clubs the option of going into some of those grants like the Gambling Community Benefit Fund with their lease in place. So I think really important, not just for their certainty, but for their financial sustainability to have those in place. I'm also really glad to see the Alara Sports Club lease coming up and the correction of that so that the common parkland is not included in that lease. It created some problems with event approvals, so hopefully that will be sorted out going forward. Anyone else, councillors? No. All in favour? It's unanimous, thank you. Item 14.1, we have a recommendation that council approve the inclusion of lot 185 on BMT 1725 in the rural water supply area. Approve in principle the lots shown in figure 3 in the rural water supply area, and delegate approval to the Chief Executive Officer to amend the rural water supply area to incorporate these lots as they connect to the water supply. Do I have a mover for that? Councillor Richters, thank you. And a seconder, Councillor McDonald, thank you. Did you want to speak to this, Councillor Richters?
I'd just like to say that if this is a foreshadowing of a growth in Wallangarra, I think it's fantastic. And it's a great place to expand. And I think it's a common sense decision to not have to keep coming back to council every time we want to add another lot to the scheme. So fully supported.
Councillor Richters? Yeah, Councillor Dean?
I would like to echo what Councillor Richters has said, and I commend the staff for having the foresight to increase the size of the water main so that we can have greater pressure for the Wallangarra residents. So I think this is a fantastic way forward, and hopefully we can see some more growth down there, and as many residents want to move to the Southern Downs, and I think this is a great way forward. Thank you.
Councillor Bartley?
Just have a question regarding the report, the community engagement part of it. It says there was discussed and agreed outcome with the water specialist. That was internal consultation. It also says there this was discussed at the council information session. Can I have that changed to the information was provided at the council information session? Because we don't make decisions at information sessions, we just get information given to us and we can ask as many questions as we want, but we don't come to any final consensus or decision because it's only an information session that we're involved in when that was delivered.
Through you, Mayor, if I may, and that's why the word specifically is discussed, because information was discussed, as opposed to making a decision. So yes, I absolutely agree with you. There's no decision is ever made outside of an OCM.
That's right.
The information is provided to councillors. Excuse me, councillors have the opportunity to ask questions of staff and discuss anything that they may want to flesh out.
I'm just a little bit concerned because when we were briefed by the department, they said information sessions are just that. You garner information and that's what you do.
That's correct.
You don't have an opinion at those sessions.
So again, through Mayor, that's why we haven't put in there that the matter was debated or agreed to or a decision was made, because you're absolutely correct, you do not do that within a CIS, it's the forum of the OCMs.
Okay, going to a vote on that, all in favour? Unanimous, thank you. Moving on to the sewer main inspection and relining, we have a recommendation that council award the contract to underground experts for the value of $2,537,991.18 ex GST over 2 financial years. Allocate funding of $1.7 million in the 2026-27 financial year to be endorsed in the future budget. In accordance with section 224 of the Local Government Regulations 2012, enter into a contract with the underground experts for the CCTV inspection and relining of sewer mains in Warwick and Stanthorpe, and delegate authority to the Chief Executive Officer to enter into any variations to the contract terms as deemed necessary for the duration of the contract. Do I have a mover for that one? Councillor Pigeon, and a seconder, Councillor Haslett, thank you. Do you want to speak to this item?
Thank you. With a significant portion of the sewerage infrastructure ageing, these renewal works are essential in maintaining the system in a good working order and ensuring long-term service reliability. So I just want to acknowledge the staff and thank you for bringing this report forward to us.
Thank you, Councillor Pigeon.
Through the chair, I've just noticed a small error.
We'll go with it.
Councillor
Yes.
Haslett, yeah.
Echoing what Councillor Pigeon just said, it's not a particularly glamorous item, this one, but an absolutely essential one. And yes, it's a fair bit of money, but it's good to see that it's happening. It needs to happen, and yeah, well done.
Thank you. Councillor Richards.
I think it's also great. It's critical for maintaining a good supply and trying to reduce the number of emergency breakdowns that we have across our network, as well as keeping the leaks at bay so that we can be better at using the water that we have. As I pointed out earlier, I think that it's good just to note for the community that where it says CCTV in this report, we're not talking about putting security cameras on our pipe network. We're talking about taking camera images of the inside of the pipes.
Okay, going to a vote on that? All in favour? That's unanimous, thank you. Moving on to item 15, we have a recommendation that council resolves to endorse proposed amendments to Southern Downs Citizen of the Year Awards Policy PLSD 041. Do I have a mover for that? Councillor Haslett, and seconded by Councillor Richards. Yes, I've done that from the portfolio allocations, so yes.
On the committee.
Yeah. Would you like to speak to that, Councillor Haslett?
Just very briefly, look, there are some great suggested changes here, and they are largely, I believe, as a result of community feedback that we as councillors have received. So just noting that we're taking on that feedback and having a look at it and processing things forwards. And just for anyone listening, I think there's probably two major things that stick out in there. One is that the nominations will now be, if this passes, will then be open from February rather than just late in the year, so you can nominate throughout the year. And the other fairly significant change there, which I think is a great one, is that with the exception of the Citizen of the Year and the Youth Citizen of the Year, all of the categories are touted to be open to organisations as well as individuals, which broadens the scope of the number of people in our community that we are able to recognise for the wonderful work that they do. So I think they're both wonderful amendments, and I look forward to next year's awards.
Fantastic. Councillor Richards?
Thanks, Mayor. As one of the councillors on the actual selection committee, this policy amendment really does reflect the overwhelming view of the committee from last year's process that we make improvements to our Citizen of the Year awards. And like Councillor Haslett just pointed out, the opening up of groups, not just individuals, for most of our awards is a fantastic step in the right direction, because it means that it opens it up for more nominations from different aspects of our community who want to recognise the great things that our community groups are doing as opposed to what the individuals inside of those groups are doing. Also opening up the nominations earlier, but not just opening up the early nominations, also simplifying that process so that we encourage members of our community to engage with the Citizen of the Year Awards much earlier and much easier than what has previously been the case. So I really look forward to this change being implemented and a fantastic turnout for next year's Citizen of the Year Awards.
Thank you, Councillor Richters. Anyone else? No. Going to a vote on that, all in favour? That's unanimous, thank you. Item 15.2, we have a recommendation that council receive and note the minutes from the Southern Downs Youth Council Induction Day on 26 February 2026. Councillor Haslett, would you like to move that?
Councillor Richters would like to move. Yes, of course I would.
Yes. And a seconder? Councillor McDonald.
Oh dear.
Do you want to speak to this one?
No, I think it's all very, well explained in the report.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor McDonald.
Yes, I'd like to speak to this item. Having been on council for 6 years now, there's been a number of reoccurring themes year after year that come up with the Youth Council. And I look at these, let's talk about 1, 11, 13 and 15, which are all very similar in what they're requesting, which are more outside interactions, not online, more social events, more activities outside of school, better for the health, and outside school activities other than sport. This seems to be a common theme and has been a common theme for 6 years. As we have a budget for 7,500, I would really love to see this year some tangible outcomes in regards to that. Now, I know I'm old, but when I was a teenager, we had blue light discos. Joel, stop looking at your watch. However, something similar or within that capacity, obviously, for teenagers to socialise. It has on a number of occasions been brought to my attention that there isn't a great deal for our teenagers to do after hours on the weekends. And I think something constructive, if we could look at something in the Youth Council that is actually tangible as an outcome and use some of that budget. Thanks.
Councillor Pigeon, actually I have a question for staff. We've opened our 5-year plan and budget engagement on Monday, which runs for 2 weeks. Are staff sending the links for that through to the Youth Council so that we can get some young views? Yes. Fantastic. Okay, thank you. Anything else, councillors?
If I could respond quickly to that, but
right, yes, I think we're up to right of reply, yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes. I appreciate what you're saying and I agree with you, there are similar outcomes that come every year. I would point out that the budget allocation for Youth Council is for the running of the program of Youth Council, not for other potential projects. It's not to say if there wasn't money left over, we could look at spending it there, but that budget is used to actually run the program. And one of the things that we do look at in the program these days is when they come up with their list, so this is obviously the first of 5 sessions, the rest of the sessions we look at which of those items can fit within a budget, how much budgets are, and we look at what actually is the responsibility of local government versus perhaps not. And a lot of questions like that around understanding what local government does as much as delivering project outcomes for students. So that list gets refined and already, has been refined in the second session that they have had and whittled down, and the students come back and look at it and go, actually, we now think that one there might not be as relevant as we first thought for this particular context. If that helps to clarify what was.
Yes, it does. However, I really would love to see some tangible outcomes.
Thank you, councillors. Okay. Going to a vote on that one. All in favour? That's unanimous, thank you. We now have a recommendation that the meeting be closed to the public and move into committee. to discuss the following items which are considered confidential in accordance with section 254J3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, which permits the meeting to be closed to the public for business relating to the following: the appointment of Audit and Risk Management Committee Chairperson. This item is considered confidential in accordance with section 254J31 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, as it contains information relating to a matter the local government is required to keep confidential under a law of or formal arrangement with the Commonwealth or a state. Do I have a mover for that? Councillor Richter, thank you, and a seconder, Councillor Pigeon. All in favour? Thank you. Okay, we have a recommendation that council appoint Ms Melissa Jacobs as Chairperson of the Audit and Risk Management Committee. Councillor Richters, are you happy to move that motion? Thank you. And a seconder? Councillor McDonald, thank you. Going to a vote on that, all in favour? That's unanimous, thank you. I declare the meeting closed at 10:12 a.m.